All right, all right. So we got to get the tunes. We got to get the tunes so we can maximize this call. Give me 1 second. I want to make sure that we're on Facebook. I want to make sure that we are here, that we are on YouTube. We're going to be doing a Blitz call tonight. I know it's last minute, but for those people who join us tonight, it's going to be a masterpiece. Let me just make sure that I'm here. Let me drop this link to a few people. So what I want to do is let's jump straight into the charts for everybody tuning in. All right, beautiful. Let me drop this link. And what I want to do is, for everybody tuning in, I appreciate you guys. If you're looking at any specific currency pair, do me a favor and drop that currency pair in the comments below. If you're looking at any specific currency pair, drop that in the comments below. All right. So as we get everybody on here, I want to do a quick introduction. Everybody should be aware of just the basis of trading. The markets are open 24 hours a day, but just because they're open 24 hours a day doesn't mean you're trading one pair 24 hours a day. You're going to notice different pairs are going to move at different times. And the main reason is because you have your technicals, but then your fundamentals that's dealing with your economics, your social, political status, relationships between one country and another, right? So I want to make sure that, the first thing everybody's doing as we're tapping into these currency pairs is make sure that they're trading the right pairs at the right time. Now, the great thing that you're going to notice is I have this area between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern, which I call the Blackout Zone, because in this area, this is where the markets are going to be a little bit choppy, right? And I want to make sure that when you're looking at these charts, you're actually in the market at a time that you're seeing it moving, right? Everybody, let's see. We got a few people on here. Awesome. If you guys are looking at any specific charts, drop them in the comments. I'm actually going to start off and drop 3 currency pairs. Well, I'll do 4 to get everybody on the right foot, right? So if you're looking at any specific currency pairs, drop them in the comments below. Now, what I want to do is I want to start off and just give you guys a basic understanding of where some of these markets are at and potentially what I'm looking for them to do soon, right? Now, looking at this chart, give me 1 second. Ooh, this is interesting stuff. This is interesting. We're going to delete a lot of this stuff, but some of these markets, ooh, this one's going to be a good one. This G Swiss. A lot of these markets are actually going to be good. I like G Swiss more than GU. So let's start off with G Swiss. All right. Now, everybody should have access to your pullback pips indicator. When you go in your back office, matter of fact, everybody has access because I just checked and all of the requests have been filled. So all you have to do is make sure that when you're looking at your pullback pips indicator, you're trading it on your 2-hour time frame that you're looking at it on your 2-hour time frame and your 1-hour time frame, right? Now, most of the time when you're trading, you're going to be tapping in. Here, give me 1 second. I'm actually pretty surprised. I'm like, oh, snapper doodle pie. Give me 1 sec. G Swiss is not as ready as I thought. Give me 1 second. Oh, it's just starting off. Ooh, I may have to wait on G Swiss. Let me see a few things. Let's see what we have. You see, I did like G Swiss. I like G Swiss. I like GU, EG. GCAD isn't as ready as it should be. So we'll start off with these three and see what we're looking at. Hey, good evening, Lachelle. Now I want to start off, and this one's going to be interesting just because I know we've been dealing with a lot of consolidation with this GBP Swiss. But one thing that's really interesting with this pair is we've been noticing, and this is what's important for tonight. While I'm looking at this GBP Swiss, I'm really looking to see what's been happening at these areas of price. For right now, what I'm looking for this market to do is stay above these areas, these price regions. And the reason being is because as it's casually going up, this is going to allow for an opportunity for this market to push into structure, right? So you're noticing at this GBP Swiss, that's why I'm going to keep my eye on it. But there's plenty of targets it could push to the upside. The question is, does it want to pull back a little bit more before that? Well, we have to find out, right? Now, coming into this GBP session, this is what's important, because if we can identify what the GBP wants to do, right? So let me just take a moment. If we can identify what the GBP wants to do, we'll be able to see a little bit more of it, right? So like, for example, if this GBP definitely wants to push up a little high into some of this structure, that would be great for us, right? If you notice, it just broke out of that rejection. So if that's the case, we might have something up with this GBP Swiss, right? I'm going to be a little patient, however, and I need to make sure that I take the notes on it, because right now we're not pullback ready. But if I can catch a minimal risk setup, I would love to see this bad boy pull back and give me an action around one of these three areas. What's important is if I can get in, let's say minimizing that risk, catching some type of pullback, I'll be able to push it into some of these targets. Very nice, keeping my minimal risk. All right, so that's actually a setup I'm looking for more into this upcoming session to see what the GBPs want to do, right? It's in a very interesting spot, and that's just going to keep that risk minimal. Now, looking at GU, we are in a bullish bias, right? If we grab our pullback pips and we throw this bad boy on the 1 hour and the 2 hour, look, on the 2 hour, we've been bullish, right? These lows would have been taken, pushing it to the upside. I remember earlier this week where GU was right here and it finally broke out of this area of rejection, which then eventually turned into support, right? So right now, if we notice, identifying even with the pullback pips, we got to be a little patient on GU. Why? Because look, it has recently broken out of all of this rejection, right? And since it's broken out of all of that rejection, now this is the opportunity for it to actually pull back into this region, right? I would recommend one more pullback if it could give it to me, where I can look for some entries, place my stop below the price where the market has never been, and easily take it back up into structure, right? That type of setup pushes this, a nice 5-1. If we could minimize our risk, catching a pullback once on this GBP USD. As long as it could stay above this reference area that we identified, that's where I want this bad boy to potentially come and push it back up, right? Now, if we can get this move on GBP USD, seeing this bullish opportunity right back into structure, that's why I was looking for that on G Swiss. I know G Swiss is not ready this instant, but best believe once it starts breaking up into these structure points, you're going to get the green confirmation to pull back and take it high, right? Now, another pair that actually is ready as well is Euro GBP. As you can see, that one looks like it's been bearish for a while. That's why we got to be a little patient for it. You know, just imagine being able to catch the first pullback, which was here. And then that bad boy literally pulled back, and just kept dropping, right? Even to the point where this week we were trying to see what it wanted to do at this reference area, right? And as you can see, it broke through it. So I'm actually interested, especially coming into this session, to see what does this market want to do with EG, right? EG can easily be a currency that, as long as there's not strong momentum, right? You're going to notice there's going to be a point when I don't want to enter this for the shorts anymore, right? For example, right now we're in this battle of past support that needs for us to identify that we're resistant somewhere, right? Looking at this chart, the only play I'm going to want to do is probably look at for some pullback and take it right into structure if I can get it. And my question is, where is that pullback, right? So the first area of interest actually I have is right here. Bada bing, bada boom. The second area of interest I have is slightly above there. If I can keep this market rejecting at this resistance, that's exactly what we're looking for, right? Think about it. This area of structure is red, resistant for a reason. So my question is, can the market at least hold that rejection, right? What time is it right now? 10? Well, 9:20. We have to wait a little bit. It might pull back a little bit more than we think, right? But the question is, can we at least pull this bad boy right back into structure where we can minimize our risk and maximize the profit run, right? I'm interested in seeing this pullback and at least pushing it into structure, because if that's the move, GU could easily pull into some structure. Boom. G Swiss could have a ball and catch this minimal pullback and push into some structure, right? So those are the three main charts that I'm actually going to be keeping my eyes on coming into this London session. The only time I'm going to be very cautious on this EG is once it starts breaking above this high right here, because at this point, if it breaks through, we might be able to notice it might potentially trend change and push into these structures. So for right now, we're just trying to keep this risk minimal and just have it pull back into structure to the downside, and we'll be good. Like for example, with GU, if it could pull back one more time, right? Try to target these levels, give me a nice entry, pushing it right into structure where it came from, boom, that would be a nice pullback to minimize that risk, maximize that profit. Those would be like that GU. I do think GU could play out as long as we hold this level of price. It should be a good setup. And of course, if that's the case, this G Swiss should help with the GBP. Let me see. Let me grab a few other ones. We got GJ. Let's see. We got GCAD. Let me see where. GCAD wasn't as ready because I know that CAD has been pushing it around. But if you notice, it's in a very stuck situation. So we might be able to see something off of this, right? I'm going to keep this area identified just in case. And the reason being is because I want to see what the market wants to do at this area, right? Clearly, we're seeing a lot of consolidation. So my question is, does this market want to take these lows and then make a bias to the structure high? Regardless, since we're stuck in this whole consolidated area, we just need to identify what we're looking to do. But if that GBP really is gain some push, it would be nice because we could push it right up into structure and minimize our risk, right? But that's only if it holds this level as a support, right? Like GJ, we like that thing is already moving, right? We can't do too much. We can't definitely not can't do too much, right? I remember this trade setup. I was looking for it to either react resistant or react supportive off of this. If it would have broken, I would have looked for the sell, but it never did. It broke to the upside, started referencing this area, that broken resistance as support, and kicked up. That's actually interesting. I missed that one this week. But it's too high. So right now, I would stay away from GJ. You know, some of these other GBPs look a little tad better. I don't like GCAD as much. I do like EG, GU, and G Swiss, right? Those are the three that I'm keeping my eyes on for tonight. Now, some other pairs that have moved this week, we had Euro USD that pushed nicely to the upside, USD Swiss that probably did the opposite. And I'm interested to see these moves. So let me just show you guys these two pairs that I'm keeping my eyes on. Like these three, and then we're going to look at these two, right? So let's start with EU. Earlier this week, we had some news that pushed this bad boy. Then the market really just kicked up in terms of the dollar dropped, and then EU kicked up to the upside. Literally right here at this moment, the market took out these lows, right? Right around this time, you see that the dollar was dropping, which EU did the opposite and pushed up, right? Now, looking at this EU, we got to realize just from that moment right here, once it started breaking these areas, these were all going to start being referenced as some supportive areas to touch on, right? You saw it. It broke through it, referenced that support, kicked back up. So I'm interested on EU just because looking at it on the 4 hour, there's plenty of space. However, for some reason, I noticed this area of price, and I'm interested to see what the market wants to do there. Clearly, we see some resistance that could possibly be supportive. If we grab our Fibonacci tool, let's see, we have this low, we have this high. It already is reacting off the 382, which happens to be this price area. I'm just going to put my 50 there just in case. Let me just see something. And then, all right. All I'm doing is clicking on some key areas I would look to pull back to, right? So looking at this EU, let's just look at it like this, right? Yes, it's going up, fine. It has plenty of space to go up, right? Now, the good thing about this, and if I'm not mistaken, we should be bullish on the pullback, right? Yeah, we are bullish on the pullback. So that's actually great for us on the 2 hour. On the 1 hour, we should have been since back there. Yep, right? So what that helps me identify is since we're bullish, now we're just looking for the pullback to minimize that risk and take it up into structure. Tonight, I'm interested to actually see how this market wants to react into this area, right? I wouldn't mind seeing something like this where the market comes into this area. We have our stop loss, right? Look at that, a nice 15, 20 pip stop loss, and we could easily push this market into some nice structures to the upside. You know, that's actually the setup I am looking at when it comes to this Euro USD. It doesn't look bad at all, right? Trying to see it bounce off of here, supportive manner, and kick up. Structure are always going to be targets for us to minimize this risk and maximize the profit, right? I actually do like that Euro USD setup. All right, now let's look at this this U Swiss, because it's not bad at all. And then we'll look at UCAD. I think someone mentioned UCAD as well. All right. We got everybody on here. Here we go. I'm looking at the comments. Yep, I'll look at UCAD, Cad Swiss, and NZD CAD for sure. Let me actually put those in there so I don't forget. USD CAD, Cad Swiss, USD CAD, Cad Swiss, and then I think someone mentioned USD CAD, NZD CAD. NZD CAD. Yep, NZD CAD. Perfect. All right. All right. Let's get back to it. So USD Swiss, as I'm looking at it right now, currently, we did come off some strong bearish moves. And one of the bearish moves that really held was just this level. If we could identify what that level represented, it would be interesting to see if it was important. Like, it didn't hit the 618. It tried to hold off for the 50. It wasn't as strong as I think, actually. Let me see something. See, I wouldn't mind pushing this into some structure to the downside, but the only question I have when it comes to this U Swiss right now is we broke support. All of these areas were supportive. So the best thing it could do at least is come up in here and show me some rejection, right? Now, looking at this U Swiss, it would be nice if it could just pull back one more time. Clearly the 382 is there, but the 50 is right into that area. So it would be nice if it could at least come up into the 50%. Maybe we could minimize the risk with 20 pips or 15 pips stop loss, right? Above all of that other stuff. But then we're going to easily take it into structure 1 and then structure 2. That's actually my trade setup when it comes to U Swiss. That looks big. It looks good. If I can get one more pullback and then drop it, bang. That's going to be a nice 6-1 on the trade setup. 6-1, pretty nice. So let's look at these other charts. UCAD. Now, UCAD, if you guys, it was crazy because I had to do a video today and I deleted my markup that I had on UCAD. But I specifically had UCAD something like this. It was looking like this. And earlier this week, we discussed with UCAD, the first thing we need to do is just restrict the market, right? Literally just restrict the market. And just by identifying and putting a restriction to the market, we're going to be able to identify what it wants to do, right? So this is where the market was at just a few days ago, earlier this week. And I had this little zone reference identified because I wanted to see if it was going to hold or not. Come to find out, I just want you to see what UCAD ended up doing, because this bad boy literally ends up breaking to the downside, right? Break into the downside, referencing this area, and now dropping, right? Which was very nice play. So currently, right now, based off of this move, I'll be honest, I don't even want to do much with UCAD, right? And the reason being was because if I would have been entering on this, it would have been earlier on this pullback right here, trying to look for the bearish push to the downside, placing stops above that high, right? So that would be my setup where, if anything, I do feel it might look into just continuing targeting lows just because we still are bearish on our pullback pips, right? However, if you were looking at this earlier in the week, the biggest thing that you would have identified is not only as it broke this zone to the downside, but look at that structure that's dropping. Yeah, we're definitely going to reference this and look for pullbacks to short, right? At the moment, we can't do too much. If anything, it might just pull back one more time and try to drop. So right now, I wouldn't do much. If anything, the next best thing that I would look to do is ask myself, where can I get in where it was once supportive, minimize my risk, and maximize my profit, right? So if you notice, we have this supportive zone that the best thing I would ask myself is, can I at least get in right in there? If I can get in right in there on UCAD, I'll be short, right? That's the only time I'll probably be looking to short. And I know that's one heck of a ride that it needs to take, but that would be the only setup I'd take just so the R to R makes sense. And I'm confirmed that past support should be rejection, right? I don't think it's going to pull all the way up there and then all the way down. It's Thursday night. So, even on a Friday, it might just pull back, and then next week it'll figure itself out. The best thing we could do is just let it marinate because it has given us the move we wanted. Let's see, Cad Swiss. Now, Cad Swiss is another one. Look at this, right? Let's just take a moment. This is what time frame? This is the 2 hour. Right, we're on the 1 hour. And this bad boy has literally just been pushing on up, right? Looking at something like this, the only thing I'm asking myself is where can I pull back and just take it higher one more time, right? Since earlier this week, all of this was broken, referenced as support, right? Where are these supportive levels that the market's reacting off of is one of my major questions, because the structure is still coming up. This structure is coming down. It's in the battlefield right now. And clearly, since we're bullish, what that means is I'm looking for maybe a pullback and pushing this bad boy up. Can I get in right around here in price, minimize my risk, and maximize, right? That's always the simplest question. When it comes to this Cad Swiss, I'll probably look for the bullish push, pushing it right back into structure, right? So yeah, I'll be looking for some type of way to find this setup at least. That's not bad at all. I actually do like that one more than UJ, right? And the good thing, I mean, more than UCAD. And what's better and good confluence as well is if you look at UCAD, right? The CADs are opposite, right? So that means if I'm looking to buy Cad Swiss, I'll be looking to sell UCAD, right? Which is why the biases are like that. And not only that, something else that should help is with the Swiss. If the Swiss is moving on the same direction, the same wavelength, we got to see what type of impact that's going to have on that. But more than likely, this will be a CAD thing coming into next session. So I would pull back, and then take it up. I like this one more than UCAD at the moment. Now, NZD CAD. Should I say more? What do we have with this? This bad boy has just been doing numbers, taking it to the upside, right? Now let's look at this. Let's go to the 30-minute. And let's grab our pullback pips on the 1 hour. See what's been going on here. We've been pushing it up to the upside. This one actually might not be bad either. I gotta see what NZD wants to do. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I'd rather be more into this one coming into next week, because I don't like holding my trades over the weekend. But if this bad boy can pull into this area of price, the bullish buy would be great, right? I would be interested to see what the market wants to do around here on NZD CAD. Will that happen tonight? That's about 40 pips that it needs to pull back before taking off. You know, it definitely has nice levels it could take up to. And if you could minimize that risk, you'll definitely have a ball with the R to R. NZD CAD doesn't look bad at all. If we can come into this area one more time, that will be great right here, right? And then clearly, then we have our stop losses up here, minimizing that risk. That would be a nice trade setup. Let's see. What do we have here? Some of these charts are just chillaxing with us tonight. I like these right here. And Cad Swiss, let me see, Swiss. If that's going to be a Swiss drop, I got to be cautious with that Cad Swiss, because that could easily just come into this low a little too aggressive. I need to definitely check out what NZD wants to do. So let me just bring out NZD USD. Because I know, yeah, some of those NZDs were going crazy. Crazy to the upside. All right. Give me 1 second. Here we go. Yeah. And now that it's breaking all of this, yeah, I would be a little careful, because that could easily come into some new highs. But I'd prefer to see it pull back first, right? Like NZD USD. it would be nice if it could at least pull back into this sweet spot, right? I'd rather have it here to pull back into these highs. Will it do it? I don't think so. I think it'll just look to stay here and then just kick up. If that's the case, NZD CAD might just start pushing up a little bit as well. So that's not too bad either. Everything else is pretty relaxed. Just waiting to see the market really pull back one more time. For example, if EU can pull back, primarily, I want EU to pull back into this area right here. If EU can do that pullback, that would be great. Let me see if that aligns with any fib levels. We got the 382 right here. All right. So all I'm looking for EU to do is come into this area. It would be great if it could just be maybe even a wick off of this area. That's where I'll look for some entrance. I'll place my stop loss below that market where the market hasn't been. And then what we'll do is we'll take it structure to structure to structure, right? That would be the trade setup I would look for when it comes to this EU, minimizing that risk and at least pushing up into structure. If that's the case, Swiss can pull back one more time, which would be the pullback we're looking for, and then the drop. A lot of these have to test those broken areas that were either supportive or resistance. That's why I do like EU and Swiss. EG is a little choppy right now, but we noticed it did create a lot of momentum. So the only question I have is where does it want to pull back, right? Looking at EG on the 1 hour, I want to see if it's looking to reference these broken areas right here. I want to see if it's looking to reference these broken areas, not as a support, but as a possible rejection. If we can look for that, if we can get that, then we'll be good to go. Just be a little patient with this one. Just be a little patient. And by the looks of it, it looks like GU is actually trying to pull back a little bit. So that's good. You know, that's definitely a good on both ends. So these are going to be the pairs for tonight. NZD, USD, I'm going to leave it alone. I know it's probably going to keep going higher. NZD CAD is already taken off by the looks of it. You know, if you're noticing, all of this is starting to get broken. So just be careful because this bad boy might just want to do something like this and then just keep going into some of those structure highs that we have to target, right? If that's the case, you got to make sure just to keep your R to R minimal. And what I mean by that is, for example, if you're looking at this NZD CAD and you want to buy it, right? Let's see, if we are trying to buy NZD CAD, we need to see where can we restrict it so the support is in our favor, right? So like, for example, if we're looking to buy NZD CAD, first off, we should have been buying it over here, but since it wasn't the best situation, we need to see where is the next best situation. Right over here, right? I'm asking myself, where can I catch this bad boy potentially pulling back and taking us into those structures we had up top, right? If you're identifying that and you have those structure areas, the R to R still should make sense, right? If it can pull back just slightly, nothing too aggressive, right? It's still going to stay in that area. We can have this stop loss and then we'll have those targets. I like that play. I don't think it's going to pull back as aggressive as we think, maybe just something light and then stop out these highs and keep going higher. So I will keep that NZD CAD there just in case, see what it wants to do. That NZD should kick it into action. Cad Swiss, at the moment, it sucks just because it's already a little overextended. You know, who wouldn't want to already be in this trade and be up almost 50 pips? Yes, I would. And if anything, it's probably just looking to take out some more highs. So you got to be patient. I'd probably stay away from this at the moment, just because it's already been moving, right? Like, look at that. If you were trading Cad Swiss, like I mentioned earlier, you would have already caught some pullbacks to getting into this market, right? Whether if it was this one, that one, this one. The next best one we could catch is around here, but it needs to really make a deep retracement. Do I think that's going to happen? I don't think so. Right, family? So those are going to be the charts for today. I'm going to keep my eyes on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I will see you guys on the next one. Definitely have an amazing day. I know we got some people at work. I appreciate all of you guys on this call, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, family.